If you are watching this video, then that means you are looking for a comprehensive guide to the Therian Forme of Landorus. Of course, this is one of the easier raid bosses that we get in 5-star raids, and yes, it is one of those raid Pokemon that you can actually defeat with just one other trainer. And I'm going to be explaining how you can do that in today's video. So let's roll the intro and get right into it. And how's it going, everyone? It's me, it's Count, here with a brand new Pokemon GO raid guide video. Today I'm going to be covering the Therian Forme of Landorus. Much like the incarnate form, it's going to have very similar counters, and it is one of those legendary raid bosses that you can actually duo. Now when it comes to this raid boss in particular, unfortunately it's not necessarily one that's going to have a huge impact in the meta, and a lot of that has to do with the fact that it doesn't really have some of the best moves compared to its incarnate form, but regardless of that, it's still definitely worth farming, if not just for the rare candies, considering that this is one of the easier legendaries that you can duo. And then of course, Landorus does share its candy with either the Therian form as well as the incarnate form, and considering that the incarnate form is one of the best ground types that are currently in the game, you could farm up candies for the incarnate form by farming up the Therian Forme of Landorus. This includes XL candies as well, considering that when the incarnate form of Landorus was released initially, the XL candy updates that awarded you XL candies from raid battles was not implemented yet. So of course, if you are farming the Therian Forme of Landorus, you will be able to pick up those XL candies at a guaranteed rate. So that'll be the best way for you to power up your incarnate Landoruses. But regardless of all of that, let's jump right into the counters. Of course, Landorus is a ground and flying type, which means it's going to have a double weakness to ice types, considering that ice types are strong against both ground types as well as flying types. That means your absolute best ice types are what you're going to want to bring to this battle. Of course, I'm talking about Pokemon like Darmanitan and Mamoswine. Those are always going to be some of the best ice types that are currently in the game, but if you're going to use Mega Evolutions, then you should also bring Abomasnow as well. Fortunately, there's plenty of really good ice types and strong Pokemon with ice type moves that you could bring against this Pokemon. One thing of note is that Shadow Pokemon are going to do really well against Landorus. That is of course because it is a bit of a glass cannon. Yes, it does have really high attack stats, but your Shadow Pokemon, depending on which ones you bring, will be able to dish out a lot of damage before getting completely knocked out. So do keep that in mind. If you have really good ice type Shadow Pokemon, they might be worth bringing up against this raid boss. Now there's actually two Shadows that I really want to highlight here. Shadow Mamoswine is one of the more recent ice type Shadows that you could get, as well as Shadow Mewtwo with Ice Beam. I think both of these Pokemon can perform really well up against this Pokemon. And of course, if you are trying to duo this Pokemon, then you're going to want to dish out as much damage as you possibly can. So now that we covered all of the different types that are going to be very strong against Landorus, let's actually talk about his movesets real quick. There's really not too much to think about here. It has either Mud Shot or Extra Sensory, and when it comes to its charge attacks, it's going to have Earthquake, Bulldoze, Stone Edge, and Super Power. Now among all of these moves, obviously Super Power is going to be the one that you will want to watch out for, considering that it is a fighting type move and it's going to be really strong against your ice types. But if you do have a whole bunch of Mewtwo's with Ice Beam, that is going to be your best option going up against a superpower Landorus. But other than that, there really is no major threat when it comes to his moveset. Of course, Earthquake is a very heavy damage dealing move, but considering that a lot of your ice types are going to resist that move, it's not necessarily going to be as big of a threat. Now considering that Landorus is both ground and flying type, that means it's going to get weather boosted by sunny weather as well as windy weather. So yeah, those are the weather boosts that are going to give you the higher CP when you catch it. And of course, if you're looking for a weather boost to boost up your Pokemon, it's going to require snowy weather, but unfortunately that's not going to be really common for most of the world right now. But because Therian Landorus is so easy to defeat, you really don't need the weather boost, you might as well just look for the weather boost that's going to boost it up so that you can collect even more XL candies when you catch it. Now, speaking of weather boosts, its perfect IVCP when it's weather boosted is going to be 2801, and if it's not weather boosted, it's going to be 2241. Now, considering that the Therian Forme of Landorus doesn't have the most ideal moves for it to be a very viable ground type, it's unfortunately not going to be one that you will necessarily care about getting the perfect IVs for. But if you are a perfect IV hunter, then yes, these are the IVs that you will want to look for. And of course, when it comes to Landorus, it's going to be really good as its incarnate form, and that is of course because it has really good moves right now. But we really do not know if the Therian Forme of Landorus will get some kind of really good move in the future, like maybe they could give it Earth Power, and if they do, it will definitely outclass the incarnate form. So do keep that in mind if you plan to use your charge TMs in the future. Once they release better moves, then yes, it might be worth getting a perfect IV right now. But at the time that I was recording this video, the Therian Forme of Landorus just did not have great moves in its move pool, so unfortunately I really can't encourage players to go out and spend as much money as they can to get this boss, but really, it's possibly going to be really good in the future, so do keep that in mind. Now, if you are looking to two-man this raid boss, it's not going to be as difficult as other raid bosses that have come before it, but if you are looking to two-man it, then make sure you are prepared as much as possible. Have the absolute best ice types that you currently have at your disposal. Make sure you power them up to at least level 35. Ideally, you will want all of them to be level 40 at least, and if you have some that are level 50 with XL candies, that's going to be even better. And of course, you want to give yourself every single advantage that you could possibly give yourself. That means best friendship bonuses. If you have best buddy bonus with your Pokemon, then you could use that as well. And of course, when it comes to Mega Evolutions, make sure you're packing a couple of those as well. If you manage to give yourself as many of these advantages as you possibly can, then yes, this is going to be one of the easier duos that you could do. It may not necessarily be as easy as a Pokemon like Rayquaza, but it is going to be very similar considering that it does have that double weakness to ice types, so yeah, it's definitely going to be easier than most. Anyway, that's going to be it for this raid guide video. I would love to know your thoughts regarding the Therian Forme of Landorus. Are you going to go hard on this boss considering that they may give it better moves in the future, or are you going to be farming up this boss for those XL candies for your incarnate form Landorus? I would love to know. Definitely share them in the comment section below, and I really hope you enjoyed this video and found it to be helpful. If you did, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe if it's your first time here, and share this video with your friends, and definitely consider joining me on Patreon. I have some nice perks there, especially now that we can increase our friends list to 400. I can add a lot more friends, and I will be giving priority to those who are my patrons. So yeah, if you want to be on my friends list and get raid invites from me, or if you want to send raid invites to me, then yeah, do consider joining me on Patreon, and the link to that will be in the description below. Anyway, that's going to be it for this video. I am Count Jinsula. Be safe, have fun, and I'll catch you all later.